Hi guys, you hit me twice tonight. Alright, today's talk, a simple one, is called The Cost of Losing Yourself. It's a good one. The cost of losing yourself. First of all, let me say that until we have given ourselves the value and until we understand who we are, until we really appreciate that for everything that it is, you don't understand the power of yourself, and as such, you have no idea of its value. And I'm telling you this because it's really easy to lose yourself. It's really easy. When you don't understand who you are or your worth or anything, when you don't understand you're the source of your experience, when you don't get it, it's when you haven't realized that the way that your eyes are designed like a mirror, so that what you think is outside is actually being formed in your head, and what you see is a reflection like a mirror, and you're the source of it. And although you get to participate in this wonderful and miraculous holographic reality in which you can project your body in and out of, you can do amazing things, right? First, you got to understand who you are. And I say this right now mainly because in relationship, the cost of losing yourself is you lose the love of your lifetime. You lose the love of your lifetime. Because all bodies are illusions, and when you place that attention out there, even though you're the force inside animating their carcass in your image so that you can see yourself, when you stray away from the origins of that force to seek what is out there, you have forgotten why it's there, and you've gotten yourself convinced, when in reality you are the only thing that is real in that entire thing. But that understanding of you is not this body either. It is a temporary identity that you embody that serves as your veil so that you can see yourself on every dimension at once. Okay? Now I get this. This is very esoteric and this is very high level what I'm saying, and yet it is the truth. It is the absolute truth of everyone's existence. In order to be here on the 3D plane, this is how it works. So the cost of losing yourself means it costs you the love of your lifetime. Because as you place the attention there, and as women, what we do is we take this energy out of our sacral chakra, and it will eventually turn our pilot light out. But we will drain our life force to give it to them outside of us. Pay attention, because I'm telling the truth. This is the cost of losing yourself and not placing your love first. So now what you do, in order not to lose the idea of you, because you've made them more important than yourself, when you lose yourself, is that you justify your unhappiness. And you continue to make excuses for this unhappiness. And get no closer to the love of your lifetime, because since you have not yet understood your value, the person that you were with cannot either. It's a mirror. You're the source of it. must do what you do. But it's easy to do. It's real easy to do. And I'm going to show my age a little bit because I'm going to tell you about a movie that maybe you should consider watching. It's probably considered a classic now because it's a little old. Or a book that you can consider reading. It's complete fiction called The Joy Luck Club. But I'm going to use them as an example right now. I don't know how many of you have seen that or read that story, but in that story, one of the things that happens in one of the characters is there's a character, it's about young Asian women and their transition to America and being the children of foreign immigrants and the differences that they have and how this affects their relationships, their romantic relationships, because they also grow up and they're older now. So this is really relevant because obviously this is how it's affected it's actually how it's designed. It's genius. And in this story, there's one character whom you find at the beginning that she's very spunky, she's very intelligent, she's very bright, she's very full of life. She's so much herself, it's not even funny. And she starts dating a wealthy man outside of her race. And the mother doesn't really like her. Thought she was a bit of a problem because of how outspoken she was, but not that she was rude to the mother. However, she spoke up for herself. She was herself. And it was that spunky herselfness that attracted this man to her in the first place. It's how they got married. Okay? He loved that about her spunkiness, her uncensored self, the self that she chose to share with everybody. That's how they got married. And then you fast forward. So remember I said this is a transition in a culture. And this is what we tend to do as women, and we have to be so careful with that. Over time, she made all his care and all of his nurturing more important. Okay, she made him, it's all about him. And I'll tell you why this is off balance. In a healthy relationship, you are fostering your own joy and theirs and adding to theirs. And they're doing the exact same thing. Now the abundance is what you can call mind power squared. A harmonious union. In balance without any needs, problems, relatively easy to work out. That's how I live. It's the only way I'm going to live. All right. So, with that understanding, you fast forward a little bit, and she makes this, this thing all about her husband. So her husband, at this point, is really close to divorcing her. And it was in this scene that's really relevant where he says to her, "Do you want to go out to dinner?" And she's like, "Sure, honey, where would you like to go?" Like, well, I was kind of hoping you would make a decision. Because again, remember, she has lost herself. This is the cost of losing yourself. She has lost herself, and she's like, "Oh no, baby, whatever you want, whatever you want." And at this point, he was so frustrated. He was like, "That's why I'm asking you." And it was this whole drawn out fight because no matter what he did to elicit life out of her, to even offer up a choice, the only thing she could offer was whatever he wanted would make her happy. And she could not voice anything. Could not voice anything. That was her idea, because whatever he wanted. And so when he starts to get mad and angry and yell at her like, "I'm asking you to choose," and she's like, "Oh, honey, don't get upset with me. I'll make us a roast. I'll make your favorite. I'll do whatever you want." So now she's desperately clinging for his approval, and he's yelling at her. And she's like, "Why are you so upset? I want what you want." So at this point, this woman is a ghost. Her full identity identity, her joy, her spark of life, her reason for being, the whole sassy, sexy, her unapologetic self was gone. And so this man lost interest. His whole reason for being attracted to her had just slowly disappeared over the course of their marriage. And so they get to the divorce part. And since he can now do whatever he wants with her because she's lifeless, he says to her, we're selling the house, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, blah, 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 and all this stuff. And he just keeps on telling her, and she's just like in shock and like, okay, whatever he says, she's like a little rag doll. Okay? And at that point, she starts sort of kind of coming back to life and starts realizing that this guy should not be telling her. It's like, wait a minute, I spent 25 years in this house. This is my house. And she started to get her spunk back and her fire back, and she started to live again, and she started to say, you know what? No. This isn't going down like that. Okay? And she asked for him to come over, and she lays it on the line. She becomes her old self. The self that he fell in love with. And out of nowhere comes this spunky, fiery Asian woman. The one he knew when he was in college. And she's angry. And she's like, and we're not selling. And this is my house. And we can do other things. But this house stays with me. Just going off. And this whole time, this guy's looking at her like this. Like that. Like a dog looks at bacon. And she doesn't understand, because here she is, this angry self, right? And he looks at her and he goes, where have you been? Where have you been? And then they get into this discussion, which is the one I'm filling you in on, as to how he came to lose interest, and that it's never that he fell out of love with her. He fell in love with her true essence. And she gave up that true essence and gave all of that to him. And that almost cost her the love of her life. Your love needs to be in balance. And you cannot sacrifice yourself for the sake of another, because you lose. Every single time you lose. And I'm so sorry, but this analogy was given earlier, right? Is that if there's no consequence for my action, then I'll do it again and again. And I'm saying that gentlemen are still kind of evolving, and it's quite easy to take advantage of someone that just lets you walk all over them. In fact, I can guarantee you that of men that are married, they didn't pick a doormat. You cannot lose yourself. Now, this typically happens to women because, like I said, we drain our life force to give them life. That is not to say that it cannot happen to men too, because we are technically genderless. Inside, we're just energy. When you stop being who you are and censoring yourself because you're afraid to lose someone and your intention is on that, that's why the energy field messes up. And now the consequence of those actions are you're not put as a priority, because that's what the source image is doing. The source image isn't made themselves a priority. So why would the mirror do something other than what you are doing? And if you're censoring your greatness, censoring your unapologetic self because you're afraid of how he or she is going to judge you, then you're not giving someone an opportunity to see you for who you are. So you're not giving them an opportunity to love the real you. What you're giving them is an opportunity to see the masked you, the person that you compensate for. That's not the real you. So why love that? The cost of that, I'm telling you, is you lose the love of your lifetime. That's why it's not working out. You are the source image inside. You place yourself first. You take care of all your needs. You get yourself right. You get your mental space right. You take care of your health. You get yourself in a good place. Then you can do whatever you want with that energy. But cherish it because you first. Source first. Everything else is made in that image. It's very simple. God told you how he is made and what image he is made in, and you are made in that. We all are. It's the same thing. In the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word is God. So, in the beginning, there's a story inside of you. That story is your true essence, which is God. And every character outside of you that you see is God too. That's the image. God said, I can't be divided, so this is the best I can do. You're going to have to pretend that you are this person, and then this person can serve as your veil. And once you see through it, then you're going to allow yourself to be the best version of you. But you are holding yourself back if you don't allow your divine being to be unapologetically yourself. That's the cost. That's the price of not placing yourself first. It cost you the entire universe at once. It costs you the love of your lifetime because you'll destroy it. Because anything that you see outside of you is your shadow. So everything is technically your child. This is also written. Where the Father and the Son are the same. We're all God's children. We're all made identical. We all have Jesus Christ powers. I know a lot of people throw out the Bible. A lot of people say, that's because they're not teaching it right. It's literally the fucking manual. And I know, to some of you, I'm going to sound insane. I'm going to sound out of this world. That can't be right. And yet, if you knew yourself, you would know. It's true. You are the constant. You'd be able to break down every single component of your illusion. You could see why your house is the way that it is, what it's recycled from, what memories, what upgrades, what things are the same. You'll see little different components of your whole, because the entire thing, the whole thing is made of you, so that you can figure out that you are the light of your universe. You move differently when you understand this. And you don't care if you sound crazy to people. Because here's the thing. If you ain't ready for this information, you can't even get in. It'll sound like gobbledygook. And people will be like, Sin, you're talking way above my head. It's designed that way. Those that are ready, they're going to take this information and light themselves on fire. Because once you stop being afraid, you can see how you are God. Your fear is your shadow. There's nothing scarier than the creature you've made within yourself. There's nothing scarier than that. That's why peace is your tool. Because once you have faced that, you have peace within yourself, and peace within yourself means peace outside. And when you stand still, you will know that you are God. You will know it. Everything is. Fighting it is an insanity. It's actually called that, an insanity, in the Course in Miracles. You are source. You cannot lose yourself in sacrifice of another because it is costing you the relationship of your dreams. People will walk all over you when you do that, and if you drain your life force enough, you become a doormat who keeps wanting to give what you need to give yourself. So there you go, drain, 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 drain. Until one day you wake up very resentful because nothing you ever did was appreciated. Here's the problem. You cannot give more of what is not appreciated already and expect a different result. You can't do it. Most of you have to be willing to walk up to that and be willing to let go in order to face yourselves. But that's a talk for another day. So remember this, please. A sign that you are healed, a sign that you have mastered your self-love, is that you are your unapologetic self always. Then you have nothing left to do. But you've earned the discernment of realizing that everything outside of you is you. And as such, you move different. That's the safeguard. That's the safeguard. It keeps you from being nasty to anyone. And you do protect yourself and you do have boundaries, but they're healthy. And you're still able to do something very magical. You're able to hold people at a higher vibration and see the best in them and then deliver messages like this, where God speaks through you, and you will understand how it works, how you animate every carcass. I can't express how beautiful it is to know yourself. I can't express how important it is not to lose yourself. I can't express how important it is to value your needs and take care of yourself first. That way you are free to be what you are seeking. Because you're not seeking it out there, you overflow in abundance. And as such, you live an abundant life where everything just comes to you. It's a very perfect design. It is flawless. And it is so hard to convey this message to people because you guys see flaws in the world. What you haven't understood is that was built in by us, for us to discover who we are. And once you have that, you have awakened the sleeper within. But that's the cost. That's the cost of sacrificing yourself. You can't do it. It costs you everything. It literally costs you everything, and it's not worth it. You are uniquely divine in this world, and when you understand the power of your word, when you understand how everything runs on autopilot, when you really become the intelligence behind the veil, beware for how quickly you can transform before people's eyes. Beware of how quickly things just kind of show up. You'll live life on another level, and all of you deserve that. First, you gotta understand who you are. Like your life depends on it. Then you fall madly in love with that. Like your life depends on it. And once you really, truly understand yourself, and once you're madly in love with that, good luck, because everything is drawn to you. It was already being drawn, but you were the resistance that was blocking it, and once you get out of your own way, it's life on another level. Okay? So please, do not sacrifice yourselves. If you are seeking a partnership, don't do that. If you're in a partnership, don't do that. Be your fiery, spunky self. Be your crazy, unapologetic self. Understand yourself and learn healthy behaviors. And do not seek external validation. It runs on autopilot. Comes to you anyway. Your state proves it. I'm telling you. This is why in the Bible it says, renew your mind and you will see a new world. So if you're not seeing a new world, babe, and you haven't understood that that is dependent upon you, then you're part of the problem. Crazy as that sounds, yes. But the great thing about God's ideas is that they're whole. So we are both the problem and the solution. So you decide which one you're going to be when you understand yourself. I promise. Just don't sacrifice yourself. Try to understand that. Accepting less than you deserve is a sacrifice. Not having boundaries, not speaking up, not being yourself is a sacrifice. That story was the most common thing that happens to people all the time, especially in marriages. That's why they destroy themselves. But then even have to go to marriage. It's just a boyfriend and a girlfriend. At first it starts off great, and like a fire, it lights up the world, and you guys are flying on cloud 9, and just fizzles out when you start showing interest for them. Sound familiar? Okay. If that's what is happening, you are sacrificing yourself. Don't do that. Choose you and the mirror chooses you. Okay? All right. So I am going out tonight. Oh, you gotta get changed. And I love you. And I will see you guys later.